Imagine I told a client you're driving with the parking brake on and wondering why you can't accelerate. One simple metaphor like this can transform frustrated confusion into instant clarity. That's the power of metaphors in coaching, and today I'm going to share with you exactly why they work so well and how you can create them on the fly. Hi, my name is John Ryan. I'm a master trainer and coach, and over the last nearly 3 decades of coaching, I've come to realize that metaphors aren't just nice to have communication tools. They're actually brain hacks that can transform how clients see themselves and their situations. By the end of this video, you'll understand the neuroscience behind why metaphors work and have a practical system for creating them on the fly. And before we dive in, keep in mind, we're coaches, not English teachers. So I'm going to use the word metaphor as an umbrella term for any comparison that creates client insights. The grammar police can argue about definitions later on. We care about results. Let's talk for a moment about what happens in your client's brain when you use a metaphor. Instead of just activating their language centers, metaphors light up multiple regions simultaneously: visual processing, emotional centers, and memory networks. Essentially, it's turning on the lights in the entire neighborhood rather than a single house. See what I did there? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. Let's take a look at 4 key reasons as to why metaphors work. Number 1, they bypass resistance. When someone's stuck in their story, direct advice often hits a wall. You hear yeah, buts, or if only, but metaphors sneak past those defenses. This is pure ICF coaching. We're not giving advice, we're creating awareness. So instead of saying, you need to be more assertive, we could say something like, you're like a lighthouse. Your job isn't to chase ships, but instead to stand firm and let your light guide them to you. Suddenly, they're not defending their behavior, they're exploring a new perspective. Number 2, they make the abstract concrete. Coaching often deals with invisible concepts such as confidence, boundaries, leadership, presence, and metaphors give these abstractions a physical form that clients can grasp. Your confidence is like a muscle, immediately suggests that it can be strengthened through practice and through time. Number 3, they create emotional connection. Facts tell, but metaphors allow people to feel. When I tell a burned out executive, you're running on fumes, but you keep pressing the accelerator, they don't just understand the concept intellectually, they feel that exhaustion in their body. And number 4, perhaps my favorite, they're memorable and portable. Here's the truth about human psychology. We're wired for stories, not facts. Our brains evolved around campfires, sharing narratives, not processing bullet points. Clients forget 90% of what we say anyways, but they remember metaphors because metaphors are mini stories that stick. Metaphors become internal coaches, whispering guidance long after our session ends. Now, to help you in creating metaphors on the fly with your clients or refine your own process, I want to walk you through what I refer to as the SCAN method, with SCAN being an acronym, and the S is for sense the core emotion. And the first thing we do is tune into what is the client really feeling beneath their words. Are they overwhelmed? Are they feeling stuck, afraid, or frustrated? The emotion is your compass for finding the right metaphor. When a client of mine was recently talking about her job search, her words said strategic, but her energy said scattered and anxious. So we want to sense the core emotion. Then we're on to C, which is to connect to universal experiences. Think to yourself, what everyday experiences create this same feeling? What would someone who's never been in the situation immediately understand? For my client's anxiety around the job search, it kind of felt to me like being lost in a maze, the universal experience of not knowing which path leads to the exit. And once we connect to that universal experience, we can do A, which is to activate your senses. Great metaphors engage multiple senses. What does the situation look like, sound like, feel like physically? For example, for this client, hitting dead ends, hearing the echo of footsteps, feeling the frustration of retracing her steps. And then lastly, we have N, which is to navigate the solution within the metaphor. The most powerful metaphors don't just describe the problem, they point toward the solution. So if you're in a maze, we need to find higher ground. We need to look at it from a higher vantage point or perspective. So what would give you that bird's eye view of your career landscape? And now that we have a basic idea of the SCAN method, let's go ahead and take a look at it in real time. Let's have a virtual client come up and share a problem, and then we'll walk through each step of SCAN.
I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels at work. I'm putting in all this effort on projects, staying late, doing great work, but somehow I'm still not getting the recognition or promotions I want. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not leadership material.
Okay, let's take a look at this problem and walk through each step in the SCAN method. First, we're going to begin with S, which is to sense the core emotion. So I'm hearing frustration, but beneath that, there's potentially a feeling of invisibility of effort, not being seen. That's perhaps the core emotion that we're actually dealing with. Then we move on to C, connect to universal experience. So what universal experience feels like working hard but being invisible, like shouting into the void, or working backstage while others get the spotlight. Then we move on to A, activate your senses. And I'm picturing someone who's working in the shadows, perhaps behind the scenes while the action happens in center stage. Can you begin to see how the metaphors are playing out here? And then we finally go to N, which is the navigating the solution. So it sounds like you're this incredible stage manager of a theater production, and you're making sure everything runs perfectly behind the curtain, but the audience never sees your work. What would happen if you stepped in the spotlight occasionally to take a bow for what you've created? So if you follow that trail of breadcrumbs, if you will, can you see how the scan method got us from the frustration to a metaphor that not only validated her hard work, but also pointed towards a solution, which is creating greater visibility. Now that we understand the basics of the SCAN method, let's take a look at some ideas to make them even more powerful. Number one, the metaphor extension. Once you find a metaphor that resonates, milk it. If someone's career is a garden, explore the seasons, the soil, the pruning, the patience required for growth. And number two, keep in mind that what's even better than your metaphors is client-generated metaphors. Sometimes you can ask them, hey, if this were a metaphor, what would it be? Or if this were a movie or a sport, what would this be like? Their metaphors reveal what they truly see inside of their world. This is powerful questioning at its finest. You're not interpreting their world, you're helping them discover their own insights. And number three, the metaphor flip. Take their limiting metaphor and transform it. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, so they prevent the metaphor as a problem. Well, maybe you're the sculptor and you get to choose what this rock is going to look like when you're done. So work within their metaphors, their model of the world, and carve out something that's more empowering for them. Now, not every metaphor works well, so let's take a look at some of the things to avoid. Number one, cultural assumptions. Not everyone grew up with gardens, sports, or the same cultural touchstones. So read the room. Number two, don't mix metaphors. Don't turn your client into a gardening ship captain. Stay in one metaphor at a time. And number three, don't overcomplicate things. The best metaphors are simple. If you need to explain your metaphor, find a simpler one. Now, to make your metaphor creation even easier, I want to help you build your metaphor library around these universal categories. Some common examples in coaching are journeys and traveling, and you can bring in concepts like paths or crossroads and destinations, or building, construction, so foundations, blueprints, renovation. Nature, seasons, relates to growth, weather, ecosystem, sports, games, so playing, field, strategies, winning, relationships, partnering, nurturing, boundaries. The list really is endless. So pull from your experience and whenever possible, connect to the experience of your client. Now, to help your metaphor creation become even easier for you going forward, here's some daily exercises you can do. Number one, you can begin with a metaphor journal. For 1 week, write down one metaphor that describes your day. And this begins to train your metaphorical thinking. Number two, the emotion to metaphor challenge. Pick an emotion and find 5 different metaphors for it. For example, anger could be represented by volcano, storm, pressure cooker, fire, or even a caged animal. Come up with your own and have fun with it. And number three is a fun one to engage your clients. Instead of giving client homework, give them client homework metaphors. So frame all client homework in terms of metaphorical terms. Instead of practicing assertiveness, you could say strengthen your inner voice muscle. If they're working on relationships, determine what moats you need to build and or what drawbridges you need to lower in your life. And as you can begin to see, metaphors aren't just colorful language patterns, they're precision tools that can unlock insights in seconds that might take sessions to achieve otherwise. And they perfectly embody what the ICF calls evokes awareness. You're not telling clients what to think, you're creating the conditions for their own aha moments. Your clients are already thinking in metaphors, you're just learning how to speak their native language. So try the SCAN method with your next client and let me know in the comments what metaphor emerged. And if you want more advanced coaching techniques like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Until next time, develop yourself, empower others, and lead by example.